light and darkness, sight and blindness, spiritual insight and spiritual darkness. These are the great overwhelming themes that come to us in the readings tonight. The story, the second great encounter of Jesus that we have in these 3 Sundays is with Bartimaeus. Last week it was with the woman at the well, the Samaritan. This week it is with Bartimaeus and the Pharisees. It starts off the gospel that Bartimaeus is totally blind. He's been blind from birth, has never seen light in his life, never seen the world in which he lives. The Pharisees have perfect sight. There's not a question of physical blindness with the Pharisees at all. They see very well. Jesus starts off, and once again with these 3 encounters that Jesus has, it always starts off very, very simply. Last week, he asked for a cup of water. Tonight, the blind man wants to see. And so Jesus, without much to do, gives him his physical sight. And the man can see. And then the stage is set for the progressive blindness of the Pharisees. Because as usual, they have to nitpick. They cannot be impressed with an astounding miracle of giving a man who has never had any sight. They can't be impressed with that. They have to get stuck on the technicality that Jesus did this on a Sabbath, and therefore, by their standards, technically violated the Sabbath rest, and therefore was condemned. He can't possibly be a prophet. He can't possibly be from God. Why? Because he violates the Sabbath. Somebody is bold enough to say, well, if he's not from God, how can he possibly do signs like this? That makes no difference to the Pharisees. So then they start questioning the man. And the progression of the man's faith is shown in his response to the questions. First time he asked them, they ask him, who cured you? He says, I don't know. Second time, that man they call Jesus. Third time, he is a prophet. Fourth time, he comes to the fullness of faith. Who is the Son of Man, sir, that I may believe in him? And Jesus, for the second time in these Gospels, says, I am he. I am the one that you are seeking. I am the Messiah. The man comes, not only does he have his physical sight restored, but he comes to the full insight of who Jesus really is. The Pharisees, on the other hand, while retaining their physical sight, get mired down in darker and darker and darker spiritual blindness, closing their minds and their hearts to the possibility that Jesus may be more than just another man. In the first reading tonight, we have something that's very similar to this, and really speaks of the highest form of sight. You have sight, you have insight, spiritual sight, and then you have the ability to see things as God sees them, which is the highest form of sight. And so we have the account of the selection of David as the king of Israel. Samuel has anointed the first king, Saul, Saul has fallen out of favor with God, so God commands him to anoint another king to take Saul's place. Samuel goes to Jesse, who has his 12 sons, parades the 12 sons in front of in front of Samuel. Samuel is instructed by God not to just look at the physical appearance. And so he goes through 11 of the 12. No, this is not the one God has chosen. Finally, they send for the youngest, and as soon as David appears on the scene, God says to Samuel, "This is he, anoint him." And so Samuel sees with God's eyes, with God's sight, which is exactly what a prophet is called to do, to see things and proclaim things that God wants seen and that God wants proclaimed. In the second reading, St. Paul again speaks of light and darkness, the light of faith in Jesus Christ. That's the light we have been given. And what we're trying to do, like the blind man, is grow in our awareness of who Jesus is. And as we grow in that awareness, to grow in our devotion to him, in our dedication to being disciples of him, in our determination to follow the Lord in all things. Got it? Good.